Over the past couple of these Snapshot episodes, I've talked about Washington as a young man in love, as a young man experiencing things for the first time, and I've hinted a little bit at what will become his work ethic. Today, that's what we're going to focus on. Joining me as well, the good Colonel has returned from his trip out to the western frontier, and will be back on the shelf where he belongs. Isn't that right? Stoic as usual. This is another snapshot of George Washington. From 1749 until late 1752, from when Washington is around 17 years old to 20 years old, he is spending a decent amount of time in the frontier of Virginia surveying. And this time, to me, demonstrates what we see later on in his life, this incredible work ethic. What do I mean by that? How does surveying in the frontier demonstrate work ethic? So let's break it down. So work ethic, obviously, is something that we all understand. It's the amount of effort you put into the work that you are doing and the willingness that people have to work. And Washington exhibits a very significant amount of willingness to work and work hard all throughout his life. And what he's doing is surveying. Now, what exactly is surveying? I am not an expert, so please take some of this with that understanding in mind. I know a basic principle of it, the basic concept, and I'll do my best to explain it in a very simple way. The surveyor takes his circumferencer, a glorified compass, and uses it to identify the line that they're going to measure, the boundary, the part that goes around the property. Then, two or more chainmen, using their chain, measure the distance between those points. Typically, between landmarks. Trees, a rock, a particularly strange stump. Why is this challenging in the frontier? Well, there's no open fields, or very few. There's lots and lots of wood. There's elevation change. There's streams. There are creeks. There's other people's property that aren't clearly defined that you have to work around. It's a lot of work. Along the way, Washington's taking meticulous notes, things that he's not particularly trained well in. Remember, he doesn't have an education. He didn't get to go to college or university like most other young gentlemen his age. He's doing this effectively with an elementary school education. So he has to work hard, use these elevation changes and these tools that he has seemingly taught himself. We don't have any evidence that he ever served as an apprentice underneath a surveyor. It seems like he may have learned alongside a few of them a couple of times, but not very long, if at all. He's using mathematical principles, geometry, algebra, to measure these things out. And then he's also drawing the maps, the plats that will then be turned in so that the gentlemen who are having him survey can eventually get their land grant. Drawing maps. All of these things are skills that he's developed and then uses to great effect as a surveyor in the frontier of Virginia. Now, surveying is a lucrative business. He makes a good deal of money, probably over 400 pounds. He also is able to purchase or gain land grants of acreage, almost 2,500 acres of which before he had very, very little. Those two things are pretty significant. The total acreage that he surveys for other people, I don't know off the top of my head. But if he is able to get 2,500 acres for himself, he's probably doing surveying well in excess of 10,000 acres. It's a lot of work. And also, not in great circumstances. There's a letter that we have to a friend of his, Richard, that says that at one point he has not slept above 3 nights or 4 in a bed, but after walking a good deal all day, lay down before the fire upon a little hay, straw fodder, or bearskin, whichever is to be had, with man, wife, and children like a parcel of dogs or cats, and happy is he that gets the berth nearest the fire. Later on he says that he has never had his clothes off, but lays and sleeps in them every single night. And then works in those same clothes during the day. So he's kind of roughing it. That's why I say work ethic. Surveying is not an easy job, but it's a lucrative one. And it's not really a unpopular one either. I mean, in the sense of not everyone's doing it, but many people need the job of a surveyor or the work of a surveyor. So he's getting experience, working hard. He's earning money, gaining land. He's also rubbing elbows with the people that he will be fighting alongside in the French and Indian War. He's getting familiar with the terrain that he's going to be having to defend. And he's getting a great deal of experience and maturing along the way. It's a lot for a 18 and 19-year-old to take in. Pretty fantastic stuff. See you next time. Take care of yourselves.